Welcome to the RPGBOT.Podcast. I'm Randall James, and with me is Tyler Campstra.
Hi, everybody.
And Ashila.
Wow, you are really bad at lagging. Holy crap, this is bad.
No, I'm amazing at lagging.
Yeah, being bad at lagging would mean he's fast.
No, I mean, like, you're saying your mouth moves, and then a second or two later, words come out of it. It's almost like you're underwater.
I was going to make a delayed ventriloquism joke, but that's more topical, so I like it.
Asher's a genius. Ash is a genius.
Way to tie our IT problems back into the podcast.
I know. It's not useless dead air, right? It's all part of the plan. All part of the plan. You are lagging pretty bad, though.
Wait, okay, now he's actually attempting ventriloquism.
How'd that go?
Well, he's drinking from a bottle. Okay, from my video perspective, it worked because the bottle of water was still up, and then he started talking. So,
okay, Tyler, rescue us from ourselves. What are we doing tonight?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am spooked.
When are you not?
Most of the time, I think. All right, tonight.
Thursdays,
yeah. Most of the time. Nope, lost the thread. Sorry. Tonight, we are going to talk about underwater combat. Now, this is one of those mechanics that groups very rarely have an opportunity or reason to interact with. So you may just not know these rules. Like, you may be vaguely aware that the rules are somewhere in the books, and I imagine most people can't recall what most of them are. So we're going to talk about them. Hopefully we can make them interesting. I can promise that the episode will not be dry.
Can you promise that?
No.
I don't think you can. Don't make promises you can't keep there, Tyler.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you moist have thought that we would think that's funny.
I'm gonna murder both of you. I'm gonna murder both of you.
Come to Michigan. We'll hang out, and then you can murder us.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, let's jump straight in with the mechanics. We're going to talk about like what is written in the rules. And then we'll get into some stuff that goes a little bit beyond the official rules, talk about things that like being underwater is weird and not at all like being not underwater. So we're going to talk about some other things we can bring in to maybe make being underwater a little more interesting and a little bit less like just damp flight, basically.
Oh, that's basically what it is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask crabs, do fish fly?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Glad we're on the same page.
Okay, so let's talk about 5e mechanics.
Yeah. All
Let's do it.
So most people probably know this part. Swimming costs double movement unless you have a swim speed. Very, very simple. Like dead simple. You can probably remember that rule. It's the same for climbing. Basically.
Okay, I immediately have a question.
Okay.
It cost half my movement speed. Now, what if what I want to do is like swim up or swim out? Like I have a 3D volume. I'm presuming I have the ability to swim. Does it cost half my movement speed if I'm moving as the crab or half my movement speed if I'm moving as the fish?
Either. Like, are we walking in water or are we swimming? Either way.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Why are you trying to make underwater combat more complicated than it already is?
Just wanted to understand. Well, here's the deal, though. Have you ever gotten into a swimming pool wearing like half plate, carrying a sword?
Can't say I have, but
yeah, why would I do that?
It's really hard to swim.
Yeah, if not impossible, to be honest. But you know what? You know what this isn't? This isn't Pathfinder 1, and we're not sacrificing fun for the sake of realism, okay? So shut your brain off, or this is going to be a long evening.
Okay. Well, hey, let's sacrifice fun for some realism, and let's talk about how attacking works in the water.
God.
Good.
Yeah, by the way, if you want to know why nobody interacts with these rules, this right here, this is why nobody does this.
Well, the rules here are very much meant to make it difficult to fight in the water unless you have a swim speed. If you don't have a swim speed, being in the water generally sucks, and I don't recommend it. It can be a great way for your dungeon master to put you at a tactical disadvantage. Like you're in a dungeon, the doors all seal, the room floods with water, and monsters swim in through holes in the walls. Like that can be a really fun encounter once or twice. And that's frequently where these rules are going to come into play. You might run into it in adventures like Ghosts of Saltmarsh or any naval campaign, whatever, because sometimes you're going to fall overboard or whatever, or sometimes you're going to have to go diving. But in general, a lot of the tactics that players rely on out of the water won't work as well in the water. So if you can adjust your equipment, adjust your thinking, adjust your tactics, you can be prepared to succeed in these cases. So I'm just going to read straight from the rules here. When making a melee weapon attack, a creature that doesn't have a swimming speed, either natural or granted by magic, has disadvantage on the attack roll unless the weapon is a dagger, javelin, short sword, spear, or trident.
I'm sorry. Are we saying that if a person does have a swim speed, suddenly a great sword is no problem to swing through water?
That is absolutely what it is saying. Yes,
that makes a lot of sense. What am I talking about? I'm doing the Randall thing. Nope, we're not talking about stuff that makes rational sense because underwater combat is already not fun. So let's just keep it where it is.
Hey, yeah, like I'm a merman with a great hammer, and I'm having a great time.
If you're disarmed by a not a merman, then they're pretty bad at using it against you. So that feels like an advantage.
The amount of dad puns in this episode are becoming infuriating for me.
Are you getting steamed?
Well, folks, he's removed his headphones. Oh, no. What do I do now?
You think you're clever, don't you? You think you're so funny. So funny.
Yes, funny.
All right. So there's a short list of weapons which work really well underwater. I don't understand why it doesn't include like lances. Seem like they should be fine. Basically, any piercing weapon in my mind seems like it would work just fine. But what do I?
Yeah, but it's really hard to accelerate forward with a lance, right? Like
I guess
unless you have a seahorse.
I see where this is going.
To a dolphin.
I see exactly where this is going. We have two nerd scientists here. They're going to be talking about force and newtons and how much centrifugal force you need to exert on an object so it can go a certain speed in water. Well, I'm not here for it. I will not be here. Not again. Not again. Okay? You can't math your way out of this situation. You understand? We stick to the rules and the fantasy, and I don't want to hear anything more about it.
Yeah. I promise you, we do not have anything written into the show outline discussing momentum, acceleration, or any of that variety of physics.
Okay.
Although, I mean,
I will hold you to that promise because if I hear any of that stuff come out of your mouth, I will leave again.
Well, this may be a short episode.
Kind of feels like Ash is a little bit under pressure.
All right. Yeah, we deserve that. All right. Okay. More rules.
I have good news, though. I have good news.
Okay.
All right. Nobody needs a degree in physics for this conversation. Ash,
he disconnected.
We're fighting underwater. Can I use fire on you?
That was perfect timing, Riverside. I have good news. Click. Rob. Oh my God. That was incredible comedic timing. I love it.
I've got to say, this episode is going swimming.
Oh, shut up. God. It's like you can't turn it off.
It really save me.
God. This episode is so scuffed. It's so scuffed. Yeah. Dan, I am so sorry. Jesus.
Oh, God.
Has he been resuscitated? There we go.
Hey, your video looks a lot better. Hey.
Oh, yeah, it really does. Holy crap. So you said you had good news. Yeah. Okay, 1 second.
I was thinking about making an under pressure joke.
Of course
we got the under pressure joke.
I was thinking about doing another one because I came back. Yeah.
No, you know what he's doing? He's making us wade through bull crap. Huh? Wade.
That's good.
Wade through.
Yeah. I like that you do.
I tried, damn it. I tried to meet you at your level.
It's great. It's hard to move fast. Good news. I have good news. Nobody needs a physics degree for this conversation.
Thank God.
Ash, if I try to light you on fire underwater, how effective is that going to be?
Not effective at all.
You would think that. You would think not effective at all.
And yet Fireball still works. Although I will argue, okay, I know you're probably making a point here, but I just want to interrupt you and say I will argue that Fireball, you could kind of make an argument for Fireball still working in underwater because it's just superheated water at that point. Superheated water and pressure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
In 3rd edition, there is a feat called Steam Magic. It's a meta magic feat that makes all of your fire damage work underwater by turning it into steam.
Oh, God, that is a niche ability. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Anyway, Randall, I interrupted you. You were saying about lighting me on fire.
Yeah, so here's the deal. You would be resistant to fire. You're resistant to fire because there's water all around you cooling you off as I'm lighting you on fire.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And not immune to fire. Although,
couldn't have that.
Okay. But again, I will argue that I'll argue in favor of them and say that you can still find like the underwater heat vents and get hurt by that. So
Absolutely.
So I think maybe immune to being set on fire makes sense, but immune to not resistant to heat makes more sense if we rephrase it like that.
What? Yeah, no, it makes sense. You can still get sunburned underwater.
Yeah,
that's true. What damage type do you take if you're boiled?
Fire.
Definitely fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
So being completely submerged in water makes you resistant to being boiled?
Oh God, why? Why do you
I know,
see,
right?
This is why I hate underwater combat. I hate it.
Okay.
I'm going to read you more rules. All right. A ranged weapon attack automatically misses a target beyond the weapon's normal range. So this, like, if you're throwing a dagger or whatever, which is one of those weapons that works fine underwater, anything beyond 10 feet, or is it 20 for daggers? I can remember. Anything beyond that, untouchable. I believe you're right, Ash. Even against a target within normal range, the attack roll has disadvantage unless the weapon is a crossbow, a net, or a weapon that is thrown like a javelin, including a spear, trident, or dart. Weirdly, darts aren't one of those. Well, I guess that would be a melee weapon attack. Yeah, so darts work fine underwater.
You know what just flat out wouldn't work underwater is bow, because you'd get the string wet, which is not good.
Yes.
And guns, firearms would not work underwater.
Yeah. But crossbows are great, apparently.
Yeah, which is weird because they also use like a string under tension like a bow does. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah, let's not ask questions about this one. I think it's perfectly fine. So,
all right. So
how long can I fight underwater? Like, I go in, I'm going to take a big breath. I'm going to go down there. I've got a swim speed, so that's great. And because I have a swim speed, I just get to swing my sledgehammer at things, I'm pretty sure. But like, how long can I do that? Because again, I don't know if have you ever swung a sledgehammer at somebody? Like after the 4th or 5th hit, you start to get tired. You're doing deep breaths, and now I'm underwater.
And he's gone again.
Is he back? Boy, this is going to be a rough episode to edit.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Damon in chat. He drowned. So Randall raised the question, how long can we fight underwater? A creature can hold its breath for a number of minutes equal to 1 plus its constitution modifier, which is a stupidly long time. Like,
Ash, that is extremely long.
Yeah. How long do you think you could hold your breath, Ash?
Maybe a minute, 2.
Yeah. Same.
Although I guess if you're an athlete, you're probably trained to hold your breath for longer. Like you have more breath control, but still, we're talking superhuman stuff. Like if you have a +5 con modifier, that's 6 minutes. You can hold your breath.
Yeah.
That is insane. Actually, let me look up something while we have a scuffed Randall here. Let's see. How long can dolphins hold their breath?
Wait, African or European dolphins?
8 to 10 minutes.
Really?
So
only that long?
Yeah. So you can hold your breath almost as long as a dolphin if you have maxed out con.
Okay, hang on.
That is insane.
I'm going to look up the stats for dolphins because now I'm curious. All right. Hold breath. The dolphin can hold its breath for 20 minutes. Apparently, dolphins in D&D have superpowers by dolphin standards.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at different sources.
Yeah.
Okay, there is some confusion. So the most common is anywhere between like 4 to 7 minutes is what it looks like. 4 to 10 minutes. But one source says 20 minutes. Okay, so dolphins have been known to hold their breath for up to 20 minutes underwater, but the regular maximum time for submersion is considered to be 10 minutes.
Interesting. Crazy.
So, yeah, 20 minutes is being generous for a dolphin. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Kudos to Wizards of the Coast for thinking so highly of all of us.
Yeah.
Putting so much faith in our ability to control our breath.
So it gets weird when you get to the end of that timer, right? So that's when you would presumably start choking. So when a creature runs out of breath or is choking, it can survive for a number of rounds equal to its Constitution modifier, minimum of 1 round. At the start of its next turn, it drops 0 hit points and is dying, and it can't regain hit points or be stabilized until it can breathe again. So they start dying. If you want to stabilize them, you need to get them out of water and then heal them, which is crazy. It does make it a really, really good way. Like if you're fighting an enemy with a ton of hit points, just drag them in the water.
Yeah.
It might be faster.
Mm-hmm. Clearly. But it does make any sort of fun mechanics where, you gas a chamber or something and you want to have a timer kind of moot because your players can just infinitely hold their breath for longer than combat lasts.
Yeah.
So that's cool, I guess.
I think that's why effects like that generally don't give like cloud kill and stuff. They generally don't let you just hold your breath to ignore the effect because you could just hold your breath until it passed.
Yeah, exactly. That would be dumb and make cloud kill worse. But Randall made a good point. Like when you swing a great hammer or something in the water, like even on land, that stuff is going to wind you. But underwater, where you're fighting the forces against you, that's going to make you probably lose some oxygen, isn't it? But no, you can fight at top capacity even while holding your breath, which is dumb, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, they opted for simplicity and fun over specificity and realism.
Oh, there he is. There's our beautiful boy. Jesus Christ.
Wow. Oh, it's dark down there. Oh.
How long were you out, actually? How long were you out?
I had visions of you guys. I could even hear some of the words that you were saying, but yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Actually, this helps us a lot because Randall here was out of commission for the amount of time that D&D says you can hold your breath. almost exactly.
Yeah.
I got out. Apparently, I have a high Constitution modifier. That's what we're learning.
Yeah. Which was not an insubstantial amount of time, might I add. That was quite a lot.
Well, I feel completely better because even though I almost drowned, I am now above the water and I can breathe, and so I can just get back to my life. No exhaustion or anything.
Yeah, we're following the Mario 64 rules, where if you start drowning and then come out of the water, you go straight back to full health.
I loved that so much. I thought it was broken, like something was wrong locally whenever I was a kid, and then I realized no, they just didn't care.
That's about right. All right. Hey, so let's jump on to PF2 because we talked about how 5e sacrifices realism for the sake of fun. PF2 is much more specific.
Of course it is, because PF1 is. So PF2 has to hold up the standard somehow. Oh God, these rules look like a lot. Jesus. Okay. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So step 1, swim is an action, just like stride or step or fly or any of those. So if you're moving in the water, you're typically going to take the swim action. Now, unless you have a swim speed, you move 5 feet plus 5 feet for every 20 feet of your movement speed. So a typical humanoid creature, player character, if you swim, you're going to go 10 feet unless you get a critical success, in which case you get an extra 5 feet. So you're slow. You're slow in the water and you have to make athletics checks. So just in general, moving in the water sucks. I don't recommend it. In addition to that, you are off guard unless you have a swim speed. So if you're a pre-remaster, that's flat-footed. So you have a perpetual -2 to AC. So things are bad. Don't be in the water unless you have a swim speed. You gain resistance to acid and fire.
So you're telling me the classic staple of every like heroic fantasy where you rescue the damsel from the tower and you jump into the water of the moat while a bunch of guys are trying to hit you with arrows and you're just dodging all of them because they've got stormtrooper. You're saying that's not realistic? And you're saying that I'm probably going to get hit by all of those arrows? Ugh. How dare you?
Well,
they have really bad attack modifiers, so they're probably all still going to miss. But if there was a villain present, and that villain, for instance, got a benefit from you being flat-footed, you're going to die.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, okay. So to answer your specific question, Ash, ranged attacks that deal bludgeoning or slashing damage automatically miss if the target is underwater, or if the attacker or target is underwater, and piercing ranged attacks made by an underwater creature or against an underwater target have their range increments halved. So like if you dive into a moat and they're shooting at you, they're probably going to miss because like the range increment is much smaller all of a sudden. So they've got these huge penalties. So they are likely to miss you. You still have to deal with the fact that you dove into a moat, and moats are typically fetid water full of spikes and crocodiles. So like maybe not a great choice.
Yeah.
Does not work like it does in cartoons.
With their mouth. Crocodiles.
I don't like how that was phrased at all. Nope.
Yes.
File that under do not like.
Yeah.
It's my one of my 3 greatest fears.
Alligators, crocodiles, and brain aneurysms.
Yeah. Someone's been watching Archer.
Yeah, it sounds like the answer is all of us. All of us.
Yeah. They're the perfect killing machine, unchanged for 1,000,000 years because it's the perfect weapon.
I didn't realize you had such a good edge, Sean Benjamin.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was solid. But can you do an impression of a can of mixed vegetables?
What?
Wet Hot American Summer, actually topical for this episode.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Never actually saw that, actually.
God, these show notes are going to be terrible.
Yeah. Poor Dan. All right.
We just got to accept that this episode's going to be trash. It's going to be, it's happening. It's going to be
glorious trash.
Yep.
Okay. More rules. You take a -2 circumstance penalty to melee slashing or bludgeoning attacks that pass through water. So like -2 in Pathfinder, that is a huge penalty. Like every +1 and -1 counts. -2 is significant. So you're going to want to go for piercing weapons. So spears, rapiers, daggers, short swords, etc. If you're using that great sword, that great hammer, maul, whatever, any of those things in the water, it's going to be bad.
Okay, wait, let me ask a quick question. So off guard used to be flat-footed.
Yeah.
That's also a -2 circumstance penalty to the person getting attacked, right? So does that mean if we're sitting there trying to slash each other underwater, we just have offsetting penalties and it doesn't actually matter?
It does, yeah.
Cool, okay.
Yeah.
So if we're all underwater, can we just pretend and like nobody do the math?
And then someone pulls out a spear and you're like, did you have to?
Okay, good. As long as we're on the same page. And so those both are going to be backlogged. Basically means nothing happens. Great, cool.
All right. More rules. You can't cast fire spells or use actions with the fire trait underwater. As normal for how traits work, any part of the effect that's unrelated to fire still works. For example, an attack with a flaming battle axe could still deal its physical damage, just not its fire damage. So like,
Makes sense.
If you're super into fire, if you're a fire kineticist, if you're an evoker wizard who likes fire damage, like it's not going to go great for you, bud. Like pick a different element.
Yeah. Or just stay out of the water.
Yes. All right. At the GM's discretion, some ground-based actions might not work underwater or while floating. So like The player core has a bulleted list of like, these are the special things that you need to deal with in water. So like we're going down this list for the most part. So bear with us.
Don't say that. Don't use that phrase GM discretion, because we know from 5e that gets really thorny really fast.
Yeah. I feel like that really is one of those things like, if you're using water walking or something, maybe you could jump, but like stuff that involves like smashing the ground underneath you probably doesn't work when you're just floating in the middle of a lake.
Yeah, that's fair and valid.
Yeah, this feels like a soft out. Like this doesn't feel like a big deal, but I think it was like, hey, we have to have rules for underwater combat. Somebody get the intern, and the intern was like, I'm not going to look all these things up. Just sure. GM, just here's an out. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's fair. It would take them a while to be like, okay, so this feat doesn't work. This feat doesn't work. This feature maybe works, but not all the time. Yeah, fair enough.
Can I do a running leap? What would the rules be for a running leap?
Oh God!
Like, can I cross a chasm underwater by leaping faster than I can swim? Probably. You know what? GM discretion.
I'm sorry.
Can't do it. Can't do it.
I'm sorry. Pause. Did you say chasm?
Yeah. Look, people come to us for our rules knowledge, not our vocabulary.
Oh, we all know that's the truth.
All right. Moving up or down is moving through difficult terrain. So 5e didn't have this. So diving deeper or swimming up is apparently harder than moving laterally, which actually kind of surprises me. Like, I don't know. I feel like swimming up is mostly easier than swimming down.
No, I can see it. Swimming up feels tougher. Swimming down, I could agree with you there. But swimming up, because not only are you fighting the force of the water, you're also fighting gravity. So, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, You already started the science talk, and I told you not to.
Yeah,
go sit in the corner. But the main issue. We'll do it again until you learn your lesson. But I hate you so much. We're brushing up. We're dancing around the main issue with underwater combat, which is that it takes place in 3 dimensions, Randall.
Oh, we lost Randall again.
I think you took my order to sit in the corner a little bit too literally.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Oh no, he's sad now.
All right, Ash, you brought up a really good point. Yeah, 3 dimensions is one too many dimensions, in my opinion.
Yeah.
4 and 5, right out. But 3. Yeah, I bet you didn't see that one, did you? All right.
3 shalt thou count, and the number thou shalt count will be 3. Not 4, and definitely not 2. 5 is right out. Amen.
All right. So 3 dimensions in a tabletop RPG, famously a huge pain to deal with. Because when we're representing things on this nice flat table or this nice flat screen of your virtual tabletop, there really isn't a good way to present 3 dimensions. Like if you're using a 3D virtual tabletop, sure, maybe you can like click a button and the minis go up. I don't know. If you're playing on a table, maybe you have some elaborate stacking mechanism where like you stack D6s and put the miniatures on top and pray. But in general, handling 3 dimensions in a tabletop RPG is nightmarish. Like it's generally unpleasant. I don't recommend it if you can avoid it.
I have a suggestion for any DM who hates their party. Just have a big tank of water with see-through walls, so just to do the battle by putting your minis in the water.
All right. That's mildly insane, but I'm into it.
I said it was a bad idea.
Yeah, okay. We can talk tactics in a little bit once we've finished suffering through the rules.
Yeah, Pathfinder 2 rules. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, okay. So your swim speed grants you a +4 circumstance bonus to athletic checks to swim. Only matters if you need to make a check. by default, if you have a swim speed, you can just take the swim action, move your swim speed. That is that. But sometimes you're going to be like swimming in a weird circumstance, like a whirlpool or something. And then the GM might say, hey, this is kind of difficult, even though you have a swim speed. Make me an athletics check. So in those cases, the game gives you a nice big +4 circumstance bonus. And like +4 is absolutely massive in PF2. Like just absolutely massive.
Yeah, no, that's quite a lot. Like considering that most of the bonuses I've seen, even on a critical success, is like a +2. They're okay with -4 penalties, though.
Yeah, they are. You can hold your breath for a number of rounds equal to 5 plus your Constitution modifier.
Ooh, I like that.
Reduce, and this gets weird. First off, much smaller amount of time than 5e, but it's also a resource pool, which gets crazy. Reduce your remaining air by 1 round at the end of each of your turns, or by 2 if you attacked or cast any spells that turn. You also lose 1 round worth of air each time you're critically hit or critically fail a save against a damaging effect. If you speak, including casting a spell, you lose all your remaining air. So if you're dragged underwater as a spellcaster, 1 spell with verbal components and you start drowning.
This is a hot take. I actually like this better because does it make underwater combat miserable? Yes, it does. But you know what's miserable? Underwater combat. Don't do it. Yeah. Unless you have water breathing, don't fight underwater, y'all. It's just not worth it. But I do like that because it does allow more interesting mechanics like, holding your breath and ticking. I like ticking clocks and resource pools. They add drama. So, yes.
More rules. The last bullet, I promise.
Jesus.
When you run out of air, you fall unconscious and start suffocating. You can't recover from being unconscious and must attempt a DC Fortitude save at the end of each of your turns. On a failure, you take 1d10 damage, and on a critical failure, you die.
I'm sorry. You said a DC Fortitude save. What is the DC?
DC 20. Sorry.
Oh my. Yeah. Oh dear.
So, yeah. And hey, on each check after the first, the DC increases by 5 and the damage by 1d10. These increases are cumulative. Once your access to air is restored, you stop suffocating and are no longer unconscious unless you're at 0 hits. So it goes bad fast.
Yeah.
You do not want to be drowning.
That can spiral very quick.
Yeah. Like a high level character could probably endure a couple of those checks successfully, but like that DC ramps up real fast and the damage ramps up very, very quickly. So even high level characters, after those first couple of saves, it's going to be like, okay, you finally failed to save. Here's like 5 or 6 D10 worth of damage. I hope you're at full health. Good luck. Goodness, that is brutal.
Yeah, that's real brutal.
Yeah. All right, so that's the rules for 5e and Pathfinder. 5es are kind of rules light and feel a little bit silly. PF2s they feel much more realistic. They're obviously a lot crunchier, a lot more specific. They handle things like spellcasting on water better. But yeah, it also means more tracking because everyone has to be like, okay, did I attack? Okay, I lose 2 breath bubbles. Yeah, pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah. Tyler, you want to explain why on your notes you have 2 S's and 2 U's on
because I tried to capitalize and I forgot to delete the lowercase letters. Weird stuff that happens underwater.
More scuff. It's great.
Yeah. Look, it wouldn't be RPGBot without the typos.
Yep.
Typos. Jeez. All right. So we talked a little bit about the third dimension being awful, the ability to move up and down, kind of a pain. And like, there's some tactical advantages. It makes it really, really hard to be like an area control defender. You can't just put your fighter between like the monster and the wizard and hope for the best, because the monster can just go like, oh, I'll just go over the fighter. What are you people doing? So like tactics of movement get a lot more complicated. care for that unless it's me doing it. I don't know.
That's why I don't like flying enemies all that much.
Yeah. Jumping can be neat. All right, so let's talk about some stuff that goes a little bit beyond the rules. If you've ever been in a lake, an ocean, a really dirty bathtub, I guess, I don't know, you have probably been exposed to some physics that go beyond just this water is perfectly clear.
Tyler, this is getting dangerously close to science talk.
I told you we wouldn't talk about... I promised we wouldn't talk about momentum, acceleration, or the physics of movement.
You tricky bastard. Fine.
I know.
But Ash will remember this.
All right. Okay, let me introduce you all to the vocabulary word of the night, because yes, you did actually come here for a vocabulary and our rules knowledge. Randall. Oh, no! Really? Again? He was waving. I thought he was just excited.
He was excited, and then he died. Oh God! Why, God? Why did you drown him? He was so full of life. Anyway, you were gonna say a word of the day. What's the word of the day, Tyler?
All right. So tonight's vocabulary word is turbidity, which sounds like a monster or something, right? So yeah. Turbidity, I learned this from Wikipedia today, so bear with me. Turbidity is the murkiness of water. It's like basically the diluted particles floating in the water that make it hard to see through. So like perfectly, like nothing else in it, water, zero turbidity. Like kicked up sand, silt, dust, mud, other stuff floating in the water, plankton, things like that, high turbidity. If you've been in the ocean, there's salt, there's microorganisms, there's other bits of stuff floating around in the water. So the turbidity like varies depending on like temperature, weather, things like that. Like there are places where the ocean is very, very clear. And then there are places where like you can't see beyond about an arm's length because the water is so turbid. Generally, this isn't represented in like the mechanics of water in an RPG. Like in any adventure I've read, played, etc., where players are expected to go into the water, like it's never addressed. How clear is this water? Like how far can you reasonably see? Like they might be like, oh yeah, players can see like several hundred feet. It's like, what ocean are you in where that is physically possible?
The most pristine water that you could ever experience. You know, all underwater combat takes place in the Caribbean.
If only we were so lucky.
Right. I guess if you were in even in the plane of water, that wouldn't be the case because there would be all different kinds of water. That's why it's the plane of water.
Yeah.
Great thinking there.
Yeah. So if you're looking to make the underwater combat feel a little bit more like real world realistic, you can say like, oh yeah, like there's a bunch of dust and stuff kicked up. Like, hey, this dungeon room that I flooded to fill with monsters, the floor wasn't exactly clean. So now we've got all this gross stuff floating in the water along with snakes or whatever. And you can't really see very far. Anything beyond 10 feet is heavily obscured. And doing that can like add an extra layer of complexity and interest to this underwater combat.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of turbidity is that if you kick anything up from the bottom, that is when things become like very difficult to see. And so you can imagine like you walk into a room, everybody has to underwater breathing, so they're fine. We're not worried about that. And you see something in the distance, and then they just start stomping their feet. And all of a sudden, the entire room is now opaque, and you might as well be fighting in darkness. That is both realistic and awesome and terrifying.
Yes. My marine biology knowledge is failing me because my marine biology knowledge is bad, but I'm pretty sure there are types of fish that will actively like kick up stuff off the bottom of the seafloor to hide themselves. I can't think of a single name, but I know they exist.
Yeah, this is activating all kinds of my thalassophobia. So let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, I honestly meant to start the episode with like, hey, if you have fear of water, like don't turn off the episode, but maybe like turn the volume way down and put your phone on the other side of the room so we still get credit from Apple from having the episode downloaded and played.
We just sound like we're underwater.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
All right. So in addition to turbidity, you can also use the physics of light as characters go underwater. Water is famously very, very good at absorbing light. So I'm just going to read straight from Wikipedia because there's no way I could paraphrase this in a way that's better. Water is very effective at absorbing incoming light, so the amount of light penetrating the ocean declines rapidly with depth. At 1 meter depth, only 45% of solar energy that falls on the ocean surface remains. At 10 meters, only 16%. So, like, it's real dark, real fast.
Look, light propagation is interesting. I don't care what you say.
Huh? I'm sorry. Were you talking? I dozed off.
Yeah.
So 10 meters, roughly 30 feet. At roughly 30 feet, only 16% of light from the surface is still visible. So, like, I would say at the very least, that is dim light, if not darkness. So, like, in like D&D rules terms, you can start using dim light and darkness as players, as creatures go further and further underwater, unless they brought a magical light source, which reasonably they probably will. But, like, if you catch them by surprise and a kraken drags them underwater, maybe you get to have some fun in the dark. I don't know.
An anglerfish shows up, and now everything's fine.
Itty bitty anglerfish. Yeah.
Have any of you played Outer Wilds?
I
No.
have not.
That will make you fear anglerfish. I will just say that.
I already do.
Even more than you already do. But yeah, it does bring to mind, like, the only light source that I think that would work underwater is the light spell. Right?
I think daylight would work, but like magical light.
Yeah, magical light. Like, you couldn't bring a lantern underwater unless that thing is airtight.
3.5 definitely had airtight lanterns for going underwater. Why? I don't know.
Because 3.5 had a bunch of really niche crap that no one used.
Yeah. Like, what? They had ever-burning torches for sale in the player's handbook. Why would you not just buy that? Like,
Wait, so ever-burning torches worked underwater? God, that is difficult to wrap my head around.
It's because it's an illusion. It's not actually fire.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
It's an illusion of light.
Yeah.
Which is bright. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't know. Magic.
Should we talk about the other peril that meets people underwater, that being pressure? Because that's never talked about.
Sorry.
No.
We're not going to get DMCA'd.
No, if we do that, Randall will crash again.
That's true.
This is our last.
I swear to God, if you crash right now, I will laugh so hard.
I was going to make a joke. It's our last chance. And then,
All right. Yes, Ash is right. Water pressure sucks. Being deep underwater is famously really unpleasant because of water pressure. I don't recommend it. Now, there aren't official rules for this, so I had to look kind of far afield. Keith Allman, who's been on the podcast a couple of times, most recently for his book, How to Defend Your Lair. In How to Defend Your Lair, he has a 2-page sidebar which discusses the perils of being underwater. So I'm just going to hold this up for people on video. Look at that. It exists. It's really cool.
That is a thing that exists, yes.
Yes. So it goes into the dangers of both pressure and, hang on, what's the word? Nitrogen narcosis. So,
what?
Like, he has rules for saves against, like, your eardrums rupturing because of water pressure and, like, going slowly crazy from nitrogen buildup in your bloodstream. It's like of these things. All of these things that are real and scary.
Water's just not great. We don't need to go down there. We can stay up here. That's good.
Like, any amount of water larger than a bathtub, you should feel threatened.
Yep.
There could be krakens in that pool, man. I don't know. Someone said Olympic size. Like, that feels high CR. I know. It was bad. I'm sorry. So, yeah, being in water, it sucks. I don't recommend it. If you are going to bring your players into water, though, like, you can do cool stuff with, like, making the water murky, making color look really weird. Like, hey, as you go deeper and deeper, you have spells that make you resistant to pressure, give you the ability to breathe, give you the ability to move. But as you go down, you realize like, hey, you can't see red, you can't see orange, you can't see yellow. Suddenly everything's like vague shades of blue and green. And then eventually just dark vision kicks in.
So we've established why underwater combat sucks. Let's talk about how we can use it in our games, because that's just how we roll on this podcast.
Yes. Okay, so I called this out a little bit earlier, how like creatures drowning in 5e just immediately drop to 0 hit points. Even in PF2, like once they run out of air, they fall unconscious, even if they're not at 0 HP. So dragging a creature that can't breathe into the water is a very, very fast way to incapacitate them. So like you have that classic scenario of like, oh, the party's on a ship. They get attacked by a sea monster of some kind, almost always a kraken, because of course. But the kraken is always like, I'm going to beat up the ship and I'm going to fight you on the ship and I'm going to slap you with my tentacles. It's like, why don't? Krakens are like superhuman intelligent and they can grapple. Like if anything threatens them even slightly, they're going to pick them up, drag them into the water several hundred feet and drop them and leave, and then come back in a couple of minutes when you're unconscious.
Yeah.
Like
the first thing you should do if you're using crocodiles, have the near body of water. They have a grapple, so bite and grapple the nearest person. Once they've done that, they should go back under the water and go as deep as they can and just sit there.
Yeah, like a crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, in 3rd edition, the Monster Manual entry for Sahuagin actually did talk about them doing this specifically. Like Sahuagin, territorial, evil, jerks for the most part, like to board ships, grab the humanoids, and either like take them as slaves or just like, you don't seem important enough, we're just going to jump over into the water and drown you. It's like, it's faster than fighting.
Yeah, Sahuagin are also really annoying to fight against because they all have a trident that has like a chain on it that immediately grapples you and they can pull you to them. So they're super fun.
Yes.
Use Sahuagin if you hate your players.
Yeah. So yeah, drowning other creatures, it works real well. As a player, like your options for doing that are usually harder. Like druids could wild shape into a crocodile or something if there's a convenient body of water, especially in PF2. Like 5e, since the rules for holding breath last so long, it's a little ridiculous. It's faster just to stab. But PF2, where they get like single digit rounds, like a really tough enemy, just dragging them into water may be a very efficient way to incapacitate them. Let's see. We talked a little bit about how much pressure is unpleasant. There aren't really rules for that unless you're using Keith Allman's suggestions. So like that's probably not a tactical option for most games. If you're using something to account for turbidity in water or like light not passing super deep into water, then you could very easily use that as a tactical advantage. Like much like just being in a dark environment, if you can detect enemies from further away than they can detect you, you're at a huge tactical advantage. So like Drow, Svirfneblin, and a couple other creatures have 120-foot dark vision compared to 60 feet. So like they are predators in a lot of cases. So they can move around safer in the Underdark because they can see further than everybody else. And they can also attack from that range with a huge advantage. If you can do the same thing underwater, you're doing great. So like if you are an animal of some kind or something that has echolocation, dolphins, whales, porpoises, etc., it's pretty useful.
I will say being swallowed by a whale in D&D sounds like a cool setting for a dungeon.
Yeah, okay.
You find a puppet that talks.
Obligatory, yeah. So Randall brought this up while we were getting prepped for the episode. There are some monsters that like to live underwater, and they could have cool lairs, which could be like, can be interesting. How to defend your lair has a bunch of information on like how to design a good underwater lair, but creatures like aboleths, some kinds of dragons. I want to say brass dragons, but it might be bronze. I always get the two mixed up. couple others like sometimes live underwater, or they'll make lairs there. And like if you're defending against creatures who would reasonably come into an underwater lair to mess with you, it's like you have to worry about other underwater creatures, and you have to worry about adventurers loaded up with magic. So if you've got an anti-magic field at the entrance to your lair, like adventurers come in, they're like, we've got a swim speed, we've got underwater breathing. They go right into the anti-magic fields. Like, we are now drowning and we are several hundred feet underwater, and this is bad for us.
Yeah, the big positive that I can say about doing underwater encounters is you really get to play up with any of your players' thalassophobia. Because there's a phenomenon, even in the real world, called abyssal gigantism, which sounds like something out of a horror novel, but it's the real thing that happens.
It really does.
And yeah, the deeper you go, the bigger things get. So that's fun to play with.
Yeah, you either have to be like really, really big or really, really small, and nowhere in between.
Yep.
Jeez, that's terrifying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the PF2 lore, like the Aboleth Society, like the Ulgolthus, I'm still not sure how to pronounce it. Like they live on the very, very, very bottom of the ocean, hanging out down there doing tentacly stuff. So like there's your thalassophobia.
Yeah, or krakens. Just throw a kraken. Those are always fun.
Always a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Players can use some tactics here too. We've talked a little bit about the importance of getting a swim speed. If you need like low level options, Alter Self in 5e has an aquatic adaptation option, so that'll let you swim and breathe in water for I think an hour. So like these options aren't typically super high level, so you can solve this problem inexpensively from very low level. You just have to actually have these options. There's a ton of magic items. Cloak of the Manta Ray has been around since like first edition. There are spells you can cast that let you breathe water. Water breathing is obviously the most obvious in 5e. You can cast it as a ritual, like the Randall's Dragonlance game that we're in right now. Our wizard was casting water breathing on us while we were tracking over this like desert wasteland, because periodically the wasteland would flood, and we're like, just in case. Doesn't cost anything to spend 10 minutes to cast a ritual. Spelljammer introduced a spell called Air Bubble, which lasts, I believe, 24 hours and creates a bubble of air around the target's head and lets them breathe. It's intended to let you breathe in space, but technically it also lets you breathe in water, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And then improving your senses in some fashion. Like if you can get blind sense, blind sight, something that will let you see through murky water, huge advantage. So like a druid that can wild shape into a dolphin or something, massively helpful. Because dark vision might not always cut it. All right. Now, all of that said, you're either thinking, oh goodness, I never want to do underwater combat. I'm scared. I'm never going to inflict this on my players, and I hope no one ever does it to me. Or you're thinking like, okay, I feel well equipped. This is no longer scary, and I know it's like, bring a dagger, bring a spear. I'm good to go. Have a way to get a swim speed. You're fine. So you might be looking for some adventures where this might be routinely useful. So I don't know of any. That's not true. The Pathfinder First Edition Skulls and Shackles adventure path is very, very popular. You play pirates. There's ships. I imagine that there's probably some amount of swimming, but I haven't actually read the adventure. People speak very highly of it. So like, yeah, if you're going to be playing PF1, that's probably great. I think people have published some unofficial adaptations for PF2, so like could still be a great option. In 5e, Ghosts of Saltmarsh doesn't get a ton of love, but it is a coastal seafaring adventure where you do go underwater repeatedly in the game. So like understanding these mechanics is very helpful. And then if you're willing to look at third-party creators, Frog God Games published a campaign called Sea King's Malice, written by our friend Alex Kammer, friend of the podcast. It's pretty well reviewed. Like people seem kind of excited about it anytime I see it discussed online. So yeah, give it a look. We'll have affiliate links in the show notes for all of those. So if you're looking for an adventure where you get to go underwater, yeah, give them a look.
Okay, I'll do my best. Raul D via email says, which official or unofficial rule variants, maybe apart from Tasha's goodness regarding classes or subsystems for certain parts of the game, have you tried? and would recommend / advise against. It's the best I got. Each John Benjamin is hard.
Yeah, it's a very distinct voice.
Yeah, it's hard.
So we did a whole episode on variant rules a while back, and I think it was like January of last year. So it's been more than a full year. So our answers may have changed. In that time, Randall and I have experimented with the gritty realism rules in 5e, and honestly, I really like it. Like I've said a lot on the podcast that gritty realism in 5e solves a lot of the game's biggest problems. And I'm even more convinced of that point now.
I've used the madness rules occasionally. I think they need work. I'm trying to think of like official variant rules that I've used. I mean, obviously everybody uses feats, but as far as I tend to take more unofficial sources because there's a lot of cool stuff that people do from the unofficial sources. And I think I mentioned it before. One of my favorite variant systems is what I took a variant system that this guy named Griffey Cliff made and adapted it, made some tweaks to it my own that we now at my group call active initiative, which is more strategic. Basically, it's like you do a turn and then you choose the person, either ally or foe, to go next. But the key is that if you have damaged that person, damaged a person on your turn or forced them to make a save, they can steal initiative from you, regardless of what your choice is. Yeah. So let's say I do my turn as a fighter. I attack this monster 2 times, and I say, okay, I want Randall to go next. But since I dealt damage to the guy, he's like, nope, I'm going next, actually. Which is very tactical because it encourages you to like set up more, buff more, because as long as you don't actually damage or force someone to make a save, you can control the initiative better. The other thing that I adapted that was my own addition. So yeah, you would think that, oh, well, wouldn't it just be like all of the players go and then all of the monsters go? Yeah, that happens quite frequently. But as Randall said, it has the disadvantage of being like, okay, you've taken all your turns, but now all of the monsters are going to go. And that can be kind of overwhelming and can really screw you in the long run if you're not careful. So you really have to think about how you want to distribute the initiative. Sometimes it's better to give your initiative to a monster. But there's this other system. Well, there's this other part of the system that I added in called insporupting. Basically, I always give, it's kind of like Pathfinder 2, where you always start every session with 1 hero point, right? I always give my players 1 inspiration. But the other thing that I always give them when I'm using the system is 1 insporupt, which basically means at any time, even if the player hasn't taken damage or been forced to make a save by the enemy, they can still choose to spend that insporupt to take initiative for themselves. The other variant systems that I've used is I've adapted the psychic dice system that I can't remember where they introduced it, but basically you have a dice that when you roll a 1 or a 2, it reduces by 1 step to show like your resources. I've used that for a lot of different stuff like arrows or rations or stuff like that, and it makes accounting easier.
Yeah, resource dice have popped up in a bunch of RPGs in the past few years. I don't think there's anything official that does it in 5e, but
no, like the psychic dice.
Alien. Oh, like the pool of dice for like the Psi Warrior Fighter.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's for. It might be for the feat or something, but I remember seeing it is like you have like a D8 dice and you roll it every time you use a psychic dice, and if you roll a 1, it goes down to a D6 and so on and so forth.
Okay, yeah. For like the official stuff for Psi Warrior, Soul Knife, those are the 2 that have it. It's a pool of D6s and you just spend a D6 like a Battle Master does. But like the resource dice mechanic that you're talking about, like Forbidden Lands uses it, Alien uses it. I think a couple of other Free League RPGs use it. It's a really cool mechanic. And like, yeah, I totally agree with you. It makes tracking that stuff way less annoying, but also still feels like there's actually resource pressure there.
Yeah, it's a really elegant system, especially when I'm doing survival mechanics. Like it makes it not suck. Because the problem that I have with a lot of survival games is that it just becomes a game of accounting when you're talking about rations. But this way, the pressure of the rations dwindling is still there without it bogging down too much time. It's just like, okay, so every day we're going to roll your ration die and we're going to see if it reduces. And if it reduces, hey, guess what? You're running out of rations. You should probably deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah, the system absolutely works.
All right. All hail the Leisure Illuminati. I'm Ash Eli. You can follow me on Twitter at Graven Ashes. So weird because I'm used to Randall doing this, so I'm just like on my helmet here. You can find me on Twitter at Graven Ashes or on YouTube at Ash Raven Media. If you want to hire me to run one of your games for you, maybe underwater game, please no. You can find me on startplaying.games, link in the description.
I'm Tyler Campshaw. You'll find me on RPGBOT.net, Facebook and Twitter, RPGBOT.Net. And hey, follow us on TikTok and YouTube. We've been posting promotional shorts from podcast episodes. So if you're only hearing us in audio form, you'll finally get to know what we actually look like, which is weird. I look like someone took a Q-tip and an orange crayon and applied them to each other.
I don't think that's true at all. No, you know what you look like? You look like everybody I went to school with because I was in Oregon and
everyone there ginger?
Ginger with a beard, yes, 100%. I was like a full-on demographic in Portland.
Wait, Portland or Scotland?
Portland. Yes, my friend.
All right, that's fair. All right, and I don't know if we'll be able to
hear. Did I say high school or college? I meant college if I said high school.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
All right. We may not be able to hear Randall because he has been cutting in and out tragically, but hey, you'll find him on Twitter, Jack Amateur, and yeah, he's got articles on RPGBOT.net and of course right here hosting the RPGBOT.Podcast.
If you've enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on Apple Podcast and rate us on Spotify or your favorite podcast app. It's a quick, free way to support the podcast and helps us reach new listeners. You can find links in the show notes. You'll find affiliate links for source books and other materials linked in the show notes, as well as on RPGBOT.net. Following these links helps us to make this show happen every week. If your question should be the question of the week next week, please email us at podcast@RPGBOT.net or message us on Twitter at RPGBOT.Net. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon, where you'll find all kinds of great rewards. At any tier, you'll get access to RPGBOT.content and polls for future content. At our $3 tiers, you'll enjoy your choice of ad-free access to RPGBOT.net or ad-free podcast episodes and access to live-stream podcast recordings. At our $5 tiers and above, you'll get all of that, plus access to the RPGBOT.Discord. You can find us at patreon.com/RPGBOT. You're right. Being on the other side of that really sucks.
Yeah. And when else were you going to do it? I had to take my chance.
I hate you guys.
We love you, Ash. Thank you for putting up with us.
They're fine. How's my Randall impression?
That's good. Okay, can you do the hand thing?
Nope.
That's fine, me neither. All right.
Your question should be the question of the week next week. Yeah. Trying to do Randall. He's hard. Randall's hard.
Uh-huh. All right. We should kill this before it gets worse.
Yeah, we should.